We all want to grow. We all want to grow our bank accounts. We all want to grow our client base. We all want people to respect us and refer us. We want other companies to collaborate with us. And the quickest and fastest way to grow our business is through relationships and connections. And there's a lot of ways to do it right. And to maintain that currency that motivates you and your network is the key to your successful growth. And we have an expert in international networking and strategic partnerships with us today. Wherever you're watching from, thank you so much. We are not a show without our viewers, so thank you so much. If by chance there's a link above you in the feed, wherever you're watching from, go ahead and click that. Come on over to our platform. We'll be able to see you and your comments here. We are live on the Erin Strayer Show, where we are all about promoting, cultivating, and expanding amazing entrepreneurs that are out in the world doing things just a little bit differently. Oh, I can't wait for you to meet our guest today. We talk about hot topics and pain points like growing our business, growing our relationships, growing that bottom line. The cool thing is we give you workarounds, tips, tools to those challenges that we face every single day. I'm your host, Erin Strayer, and recovering corporates and entrepreneurs hire me to get them business beyond the basics because most are indecisive. They're held hostage by their own fear and have settled for average. Hey, I'm just going to cruise. Took their foot off the gas. So I help them keep track by setting attainable goals, plugging gaping holes in their business and personal lives, and taking their dreams to reality. And bottom line, I provide peak performance scaling strategies for growth-minded entrepreneurs so that you and your business gets the attention to detail it deserves and you start excelling in your business. You can find me at erinstrayer.com. This show is never about me. This is about our amazing entrepreneurs that come on here that do really super cool things. Our guest today, Mr. Brady Patterson, is a strategic partnership coordinator for the JV Insider Circle, which is the world's largest community for coaches, consultants, speakers, and authors. So if you fall into any one of those categories, hang tight. This guy's going to drop some massive tools for you today. And he provides the ability for you to build your business by connecting and collaborating with industry leaders. Please, please, please helping my friend Brady Patterson. Hi, friend.
Thank you so much, Erin. It's great to see you.
I'm so excited. And honestly, like, I'm a little nervous to have you on my show because, like, you're such a, like, not only are you a super nice guy, but you really have a global influence in the world. Mm-hmm. Like, you really have a knack of connecting and reaching, and your reach just continues to go. And I'm like super excited to have you here.
You know, it's funny. There was a long period of time where I thought that was kind of, I was shy about it. Like, you know, like don't, and then I had at a certain point had to just like stop being that way and just kind of be like, okay, well, you know, I built a list for one sense of like 150,000 entrepreneurs, not 150, not 150 people, entrepreneurs.
There's a comma in there.
In like a year's time, that's kind of an like I was like, okay, I got to kind of own this. You're right, I do that pretty well.
Yeah.
So humility is good, and also like just recognizing and owning what your skill set is.
Yeah. You guys, seriously, if you're watching from this and you have a growing business and you want to grow it quicker, faster than you're doing right now, one, it's key for you to pay attention. Two, it's super important for you to share this out and get your people to watch this, because what Brady's going to be talking about today is the imperative thing that you're probably missing in your business. And it's a huge thing. We can't do it alone. Mm-hmm. We think that we're out there lone woofing. We got it covered. We're super smart people. But what happens when we're in that space, Brady? Like, hey, I got it all covered. I got all these degrees behind me. I got all of this, right? Like, I've done X, Y, and Z, and I've been the CEO of this company and this company and this company, and I got it covered.
Yeah, well, I mean, the first there's a lot of, man, there's a lot of stuff to unpack in there, Aaron. But
right, I know it was a loaded question, man.
Yeah, I mean, the first thing that pops in my mind is most likely if people are in that position, they're doing things they don't really love to do, right? They need the money, so they're doing things to make money, but they don't really like doing it, right? And they feel like, I'm supposed to make some impact in the world, like I'm supposed to make a dent in this thing, and also wanting at that exact same time to have freedom to be able to maybe travel if they want. Some people, like a lot of our clients and tribe are speakers, right? So they want to be able to get on stages and different platforms and change people's lives. But again, it comes back to they're doing things they don't really love because somebody told them they have to do it all themselves before they pass it on to the next before they pass it on to a staff member or something like that. And I think that's one of the worst parts. Okay, so there's a few really, really, really famous people out there pushing this thing of hustle. You gotta hustle.
Oh my gosh, right?
Every time I hear that, I'm like, you are just making so many lives so much harder than they need to be. Yes, you gotta work for things. You can't just, very rarely, unless you're incredibly lucky, are you gonna be able to walk into a situation and have it just take care of itself exactly your way. But if you're constantly hustling, you're missing time with friends, with family. You're missing the things that you love doing. Lifestyle to me is the most important thing. Like right now, for example, I'm dog sitting. My life is really important to me, and one of the things I love to do is to be able to care for other animals, like other creatures, other things in the world. And so a friend was going out of town. And I said, hey, I'll take care of your puppies for the week. Let's make that happen, just in case they actually start barking.
Right.
But it's like you need to have that lifestyle to be able to do the things you want to do. And when you start focusing on lifestyle as the starting point instead of a dollar point, it makes a significant impact, because then you can do the things you love to do, and then the money follows it, because now you're doing the activities to support that lifestyle.
Yeah, and that is super key. I think because we all got into this entrepreneur thing because we wanted the lifestyle.
Yes.
And then we get stuck doing all the things because we don't need any help. We got it covered.
Mm-hmm.
And then we lose track of ourselves. And like you committing and agreeing to watching your friend's dog, like that's a win. That's a triple win, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like it's a win for the dog. Super cool. He gets to go on vacation, right? To a new dog place. It's an awesome thing for you. You get to be around another animal. It's an awesome thing for your friend who trusted you with their fur baby, right? Like, and then what happens going forward from there? Like this relationship that you have just been entrusted with grows. So, right? So yes, we're talking about an animal right there, but that same thing can be applied to our businesses, which are our babies, really, right? Like we put our heart and soul and blood and guts and like lose sleep over our businesses. And I know that you have become this icon, really, at an international level because of your level of and depth of relationship building. And I just want to point that out. You and I met in January on a really cool trip, and we were all on this trip for a mission, and we had a lot of fun, but we were having fun on purpose. We were having fun on purpose, and the relationships that come from those kind of experiences end up growing and growing and growing and growing and growing, and like the fingers just continue to spread. And tell me how like you stepped into this. Like when did you figure out it was super important that you needed?
Yeah, for me it was early on. So I ran an oil service company here in Canada for quite a number of years, for 11 years, and I realized in that process, like I couldn't do the things I needed to do on my own, right? Like there needed to be a team in place, or all these different things had to happen. And I started looking at connection and community as like a form of currency a long time ago. For me, relationships have to be cultivated. They have to be invested in. It's just like making any other investment. Now somebody told me that once that sounds kind of cold. And I was like, well, I want my lifestyle to support my business and my business to support my lifestyle. And I fuel that with money, which is the oxygen of the business.
Right.
And people, which is the fun part of the business. So it's like combining these two tools, these two amazing pieces that are just necessary in the modern world, is really powerful. And actually, it's almost tribal. Right? Like we used to have to take. So here's the thing: when you decide you're going to have kids or take on some fur babies or anything, people are like, oh, do this, and they have so much advice, and they're like, it takes a village to do all this stuff, right?
Yeah.
But when you start a business, people are like, I almost swore. People say you're crazy. Why would you do that? Why don't you just get a regular job? Can't you just find like something that you're going to spend all your time doing it. We're never going to see you again. It's like the village that was going to help you do all these other things and be around to help you raise something else disappears completely, like overnight when you start a business, because they don't understand it, right? This entrepreneur thing is definitely challenging, and it's been sold as this major dream. Like, you got to be an entrepreneur, you got to hustle, you got to do this. It's like, no. Not everybody's built to be an entrepreneur. Like a lot of people, most people are not built to be entrepreneurs, and they get sold it as like that it should happen. And so for me, with connecting with other people has always been a huge part of it. And I could not see a successful business without it, because if you really start to pull it apart and you look at connections and community, number one, the first community in place, the business, the customer, right?
Yeah.
You have to have a relationship or people aren't going to buy your stuff.
Right.
When it comes to, but you also, if you're selling widgets or physical products, you need, or even digital products, you need vendors, you need corporation software, or of course, platform. You need all these different things as part of it. You need all your different vendors. You need all your promotional partners, right? You need to build the community that helps you get out there. Like, if you want to bootstrap something digital, you want to get online, like the most effective form of marketing is to have an affiliate or a joint venture type partner where you reach out to somebody, you're like, hey, I need help promoting this. Can you? And we have the same audience. You and I have coaches, consultants, speakers, authors. How can we support those people? Can we promote to them? Can I promote to your list, and can you promote to mine? Like, how do we connect these people? Because most people stop at that.
Right.
It's also about connecting the people in that tribe as well, right? So we're uplifting everybody at the same time.
So, huge point that you just made. You called them promotional partners, and then you went on to explain how the collaboration happens. So it's when, like, it's super strategic and it's on purpose, and it's on purpose with a bigger mission, right? It's not just for right now. It's not a one-night stand kind of thing. This is an ongoing relationship of trust and trust building and collaboration and cross-pollinating really our tribes. Yes. Because our tribes need each other, and the demographic lines up where that's where the strategic part comes. So, like, when you break down the word a promotional partner, like, break that apart for me.
So, I mean, we lead with promotional because it sounds good, but
I know.
I mean, and it's also the foundational action of it.
Yeah.
It's a promotional activity.
Yeah.
So promotion, to break it apart, is any kind of outreach that the business is doing that's having it help with it. So that would be like ads, joint ventures, and joint ventures and affiliates get like there's this thing, they get confused a lot.
Yeah.
Because they can mean the same thing, but they can also not mean the same thing.
Correct. Yeah.
So an affiliate, for example, is someone that promotes your products for money. That's it.
Yeah. So it's a one-way deal.
It's a one-way deal.
Yep.
A joint venture is when the two businesses are collaborating together to actually do the same. They're doing essentially an affiliate agreement, but it's in both directions.
Right. Which means, hey, guess what? Your audience needs what I'm doing, and my audience needs what you're doing. So let's promote each other. That's what that means.
It's like trade between villages, right? We did that for
Right.
millennia. We traded
Right.
between villages. Hey, this
Yeah.
village makes amazing. Like if and even it still happens in, let's say, Europe. You go to France, and if you're in France, you go to different areas, and you know, one place is amazing at cheese, and one place is amazing at champagne, or meat, whatever, right? Like
Right.
and they traded between, and it still happens even this day. This is just the updated form for us in the Western world.
Yes, yes, and yeah, the trade still absolutely happens, and it's still necessary for sustainability, right?
Yes.
I mean, that was the common ground and why, like, you know, hey, it's getting wintertime and you need our hides to keep you warm, and you just grew this awesome crop and we need food.
Yeah.
So let's trade, let's barter, let's have this relationship ongoing. And when we're building businesses together, the demographic, right, and the need gets to be there. So the big deal about the network that we choose to grow, right, like this outreach and the network, and it's more than just going to BNI on a Tuesday morning at 6 a.m. Like, let's talk about it. Like, let's talk about what actually building your network and what kind of motivation comes from doing that. What's that look like?
I mean, the motivation I'm a big believer in, like, motivation is kind of BS. I think a lot of people think, like, they constantly strive to, like, get motivated.
Sure. Yeah.
Because
it's like, I'm gonna do it.
They're not excited about
I'm gonna do it.
Yeah, it's in the lifestyle thing. They're not excited about their life, right? And what they're creating. So they need to get excited about that first. So if we're going to talk about that, I think that's an important point. But building a network and looking at it is very, it's methodical. It doesn't have to be complicated. It's just like, it's the most important thing in anything in business is consistency. Right. So if you're going to build a community, you're going to build a network. I didn't build a network of 150,000 entrepreneurs because I was inconsistent.
Yeah,
I was very consistent. I ran a weekly show. Sound familiar? Right. I ran a weekly show. I had promotional partners that promote it for me.
Yeah.
I did everything under the sun to try and consistently bring new people, new tribe, new audiences, new experiences to them, but with the consistent timing, with consistent messaging, with consistent branding.
Yes.
Everything was very, very reliable. And that makes a significant difference in the business when you can show up as somebody who's reliable, because most people in business these days, or ever, aren't reliable. I mean, it's not something that really exists. And especially in the modern age where there's so much information products, it's easy for people to lose track of the fact that, like, on this side of the computer, I'm sitting here and I've got my stuff and I want to sell my thing and I want to create new stuff. But on the other side of the computer is someone who's looking for a great product, or on the other side of a talk or a webinar or whatever. They're looking for something amazing. They want help with themselves, but they get that because there's less personalization with the online world. There's less humanizing of us.
Yeah, the connection was lost.
Yeah, it gets really hard for people to connect. So I make it a practice, like, in that. So, like, the community is everything, and to connect with them on a regular basis with relevant content, but also just being real about stuff, right? I mean, hey, this is like, I don't pull punches when I'm telling stories, right? You know, I've talked a lot about my drug addiction as a kid. I mean, 18 years ago now. But I mean, I talk lots about my drug addiction. I talk about when my wife and I lost a baby and what that was like in the healing process, and the pain that came with that. Like, I'm just an open book, and it's strategic because it makes sense to people. It makes me real, and it is real. Like, I did go through those things. I did have a drug addiction. I did lose a baby. You know, I did struggle with all these different other things. I did go through major depressions, like a lot of stuff, and people can relate to that. And at first it wasn't really strategic. And then I realized, I'm like, oh, I'm telling people who I really am. I'm connecting with my community, and I can't always talk to somebody directly. Like, I look in the chat box here, you know, and I can, you know, there's people, I can see the comments, you know, it's great, but it's not this one-on-one dialogue that you and I are having, right?
Right.
And I love to be able to have those dialogues, because that, you know, years ago, this is going to be like a meta thing, but I came across a researcher, oh God, what is he? He's an IST of some sort of IST. And Dunbar was his name, anthropologist. And he wrote this paper on tribes, and his last name was Dunbar, and he has a thing called Dunbar's number. And Dunbar's number is 150. At 150 people, tribes splits, right? They reach a point where you cannot manage their relationships any further. And so for me, I manage right now actively about 350 joint venture partners, right? So a lot of different partnerships, but I'm very particular about engaging with people in a strategic manner, because I know that for me to play with more than 150, I have to be very careful and systematic in my approach. It would be much simpler if there was just 150 or 100, right? But I need to do it because I work with multiple organizations, managing those things for them, helping them with their relationships. And it makes it very, if you're systematic about the connection, it removes a lot of the falseness that a lot of people have when they get on a call with somebody. So like all they're thinking about is, how do I get this person to help me? How do I get something out of them? What do I get, right? And
they got their hand open.
Yeah.
Like, come on. What do I get? Yep.
You know, a mutual friend of ours always says, you know, joint ventures are a game of I go first, right? And you know, it always that made the first time I heard him say that, I was like, story of my life. Like that, you're speaking my language, man. And I've always strived to maintain that, to actually, like, you know, if I'm going to connect with people, it's going to be to connect. It's going to be to be there in their face. What's going on? Tell me some real stuff, you know? I don't care, but we can talk about your promotion, your business, what's happening. That's all cool. How's your kids? How's your family? You know, what's happening in your world? What's your dog doing? You know, is he 15 years old and on its way out, or is it 6 months old and driving you nuts because it's not fully trained yet? You know, like what's happening? What's the realness of life? And then once you can connect on those levels, the rest of it doesn't matter. Like it works itself out. You obviously still have to consistently talk to people about, you know, building the business and how you can support each other. But there are people where I've had 3, 4, 5 hours of conversation before we actually do a deal. We actually structure something, just getting to know each other. And I've met people and done it in 20 minutes, right? It really does depend on the person, how fast and deep we go. And then if we can actually support each other, because I'm always looking for, do we have congruence and consistent audience messaging? Can I reach these people in a way that helps them, or am I going to be kind of distracting them from what's happening elsewhere, right? Like I'm always looking at how I can present my messaging better, but how I can also give more value to the tribe, and how I can also make sure that the person I'm speaking to, the partner that I'm connecting with, can actually win this situation. Like it has to be a win in every direction.
Yeah. And I know that you and I talk a lot of the same language, and for me, it has to be a triple win, right? Like it has to be a win for you, it has to be a win for my audience, and it has to be a win for me. If it's only a double win, like a win-win, like it just isn't good enough. Like one part of the triangle is lacking, right? Like one of the legs is, my roof's going to fall down, right? Like for me, that triple win is like the gold, right? It's like it really is. It's like the golden egg that the goose gave you that really makes it a complete, the loop is connected. There's no gaping hole in our communication and who it's for, because it's for all of us, right? It's for all of us. And I want to talk a little bit about what you got going on, Brady, because and I just really want to bring it home that you are one of the solid guys, right? Like you're solid. And I've told you this to your face. We've talked about this. I haven't wavered off of that. And which is one of the reasons I have you on my show.
Yes.
Because I put solid people in front of my people. And what you are doing and who you are doing it with and who you're doing it for really is supportive. Every single person in my audience is either a coach, a consultant, a speaker, a mentor, an author, right? It goes right back to our audience get to marinate together, right?
Yeah.
Like my people get to benefit from your brilliance and your ability to connect people, and you're part of something called the Insider Circle.
Mhm.
Let's talk about that.
Okay, so the JV Insider Circle is at this point the largest community for coaches, consultants, speakers, and authors on the planet. So we look at we built a tribe of people that are not just business owners, right?
Yeah.
They're not in those fields, but they're actively looking for awesome, cool people to hang out with, to build their tribe, like their tribe of not mentors even, but like tribe of colleagues.
Yeah, they're colleagues. Yeah, for sure.
They're looking to find other people that serve the same audience that can do the same things, and it's an incredible group. We've got everything from palm reading. We have one of the world's top palm readers is in the tribe. Shout out to Cynthia, she's incredible. We've got down to like a guy that does poison ivy removal, right? So like
that's cool. I need to know that.
Yeah, it's incredible, like the scope of products and services that people offer. Photographers, wedding planners. So there's bricks and mortar type stuff, right?
Yeah.
But there's also the digital entrepreneurs where they have coaching programs, whether dating or just a huge variety of topics and understanding. And one of the big things is if you're going to leverage other people's communities, right? And you want to build a large list, the best part of that is finding a community that actually understands it, that speaks the same language, right? And that's what we've done with the JV Insider Circle, is build a community of people that can actually speak that language and get them and help them like the right way, because there is a right way and a wrong way to do the JV stuff. Like most people do it very wrong. And there's pitfalls that come with it. And that's the big thing we've done, is try to identify what those are. Not even try, we've identified the problems, and we've gone through and we've created a pretty in-depth, not only training that's part of the community, but the community itself, right? So people, if they come in and maybe they're just dipping their toes in the JV world, right? They're like, I'd like to see what this is like to get pre-qualified traffic and get that nice referral. Because that's the biggest thing that people don't realize about JV traffic is when you get an endorsement. Here's a great example. Aaron, you have me on your show. You're endorsing what we're doing, right? Everybody on this call. So I see Abby, Helena, Jessica, like I see these people, Holly, in the chat box, right? Like they're going to be more likely to trust me because you endorse me, because you believe in me. And I appreciate that. That to me, like, I got to take care of those connections. Because to me, when you give me an endorsement, that puts I'm leveraging your credibility and your faith in me. Right? So I need to make sure I deliver, because when somebody gives me, puts their faith in me, I like to make sure that I can follow through on that, right? And the community is a big part of that, because we want to make sure that everybody has those pieces that they're looking for, that they are around the right kind of people, that have the right mentality for this, with the right training to make it happen. Right. So that there's a big thing with that. If you like, most people, what they're looking for is, if they're looking at the JVs, they're trying to get top industry leaders to promote them. They're trying to get the support from those people, right? But they're not sure a lot of times how to contribute to a partnership if they don't have anything yet, if they're just starting from scratch, right? Right. And that's a big part of it, is like there's strategies, there's ways, there's things you can do for other people, even if you don't have a list, if you're just starting, right? Everybody starts from somewhere.
So you have a training coming up.
Yes.
It's a free training, all around all the different ways, because there's more than one way that we can partner together, right? There are so many different ways that you and I, just me and you, Brady, can support each other, right? Like, and those are some of the things that you're going to be covering on your webinar, correct?
Yes, we're going to deep dive into it. I'll pull up for me, Iman and Rich. So Rich Gurman is the co-founder of the JV Insider Circle. So Rich is going to do a deep dive training next Tuesday into exactly what this community is all about. So how to find those top industry leaders and connect with them, and how to connect them with them in the right way, right? So that they actually want to talk to you. Because a lot of times it's like getting past the gatekeepers can be difficult, right? So how do you do that? How to get their support to actually promote your programs and products, right? And how to actually contribute, like I said a couple minutes ago, how to actually contribute to the partnership, even if you don't have that list that you think is going to be required to work with each other.
And I know that that's a huge issue and a huge hard stop for a lot of people. And they're like, I don't know, even though I have a pretty engaged client base, it's not that many. Is it even going to be beneficial to you? Right? Like, I personally, I'd rather have a super engaged clientele and client base than a whole bunch of people that are on my list that never even open their emails right? And so, for me personally, that's what I would rather have. But there's so many, I'm so excited about some of the things you guys are going to be tapping into and talking on, and how the different kinds of collaborations actually work and roll forward, and the brain power behind some of the really cool ways to joint venture partner together, and the collaborations that roll out of that. Because it's pretty fun. It's pretty fun to hear some of those things. It's pretty fun to when you get a lot of brain power working together, because people are smart. And when you think you've seen it all, it's like, poof, here comes a new, better, cool, whoa idea, right? And it all comes together because two people decided they wanted to partner, and they saw value in each other and in each other's demographic of tribe, right? And hey, winter's coming. You're going to be cold. And hey, we just grew a whole bunch of squash, man. Do you need that? Right? Yeah. It just brings it back. And are you going to be part of that webinar?
I'll be on the webinar. I'll be in the chat box. I don't believe like I said, we're very consistent with messaging, right? Yeah. So, the JVIC, they're one of my biggest clients, and I do, so I make sure that their messaging is consistent. So I am present, but I often, if I'm to this trip, I'm deferring to the creator in this context, because we'd like to see him be able to get his message out there.
Yeah, for sure. So just run back through that again. It's going to be Tuesday night. It's a free.
Yes, Tuesday at noon Pacific.
Okay.
So 3 p.m. Eastern. Yep. And it'll be about 90 minutes with the Q&A. So the talk is only about 45 minutes long. We'll deep dive into the content, and then we schedule it for 90 so that people could be able to ask as many questions as they want and be able to get their questions answered. I'll be there in the chat box. Rich will be there. I believe Iman's going to be there. Cool. You've got some brain power in the JV in the affiliate space out there. Right?
Yeah. And both of these gentlemen that Brady just talked about are icons out there. They have done the time. They have grown their tribes. They have reached, I don't even think they've reached maximum capacity yet. Either one of them. And I know Aman personally. I've not ever met Rich, but I know, that he is an icon out there himself, especially in the partnerships and in the venturing and in the collaboration and the currency of the connection. And it's really, for both of these gentlemen, Aman and for Rich and you, clearly, otherwise you wouldn't be working with them. That's the heartbeat of what you guys do and why you do it. And it's not just for men. I mean, this is men and women, and the support that comes from both of those arenas. And pretty much, if you're a coach, a consultant, a speaker, a mentor, a guru, an expert, can I keep going? Author, whatever, brick and mortar people need you too.
Yes. Actually, some of the most amazing collaborations I've heard because we run a live event called JVX once a year. It's the JV experience. And at that event, some of the stuff that's come out of the little groups that we run, like the little masterminding sessions, unbelievable. Like the concepts and the thoughts that came out of like to help traditional bricks and mortar business launch, like just so cool. Like the stuff they talk about. And yeah, it's an amazing experience.
That's so cool. Again, you guys, the JV Insider Circle is a free webinar. The link to register is in the feed. Go ahead and click it. It is free. It is Tuesday at noon Pacific time, 3 p.m. Eastern time. Is there going to be a replay? Who knows?
Yes,
who knows?
There will be a replay. Yes.
If they can't make that time, beautiful. And you guys, if you want the fastest, most consistent way to grow your business, it is absolutely 100% with joint venture relationships. Okay. It's all about the relationship. It's the currency of the connection. It is all about growing your community on purpose, right?
Yes.
On purpose.
Yeah.
On purpose.
Absolutely. And it is, and like you said, I want to make one point here, which is like, it's not just men. Like, it's me, Emma, and Rich. Yeah, there's a few dudes in the room for sure. The JVIC was founded by Rich German and Milana Lishinsky, right? So it was a collaborative project.
Yeah.
Right. It was built completely using JVs. We have never done ads. Nothing. It's completely built on joint ventures and being able to like literally walk the talk that we speak.
And that's a huge point to end this on, without ads. It's built without ads. Can you drop like a number of the size?
Of the people in the group? Of
the JVIC?
There's 370-ish right now. So it's a pretty good size. Most likely in the next 2 weeks, we'll cross the 400 mark.
Can you imagine an I meeting of almost 400 people?
Mm-hmm.
Or like wake up,
Well, can you imagine just waking up tomorrow and having let's say if somebody joined the JV Insider Circle and waking up the next day and having 370 new possible JV partners, like how quick, like even if all you did was take 30.
Right.
And you're like, I'm going to talk to the first 30 here and reached out, like that would game changer. Right.
Massive.
Yeah,
massive game changer. That's so awesome. You guys, if you have questions after the fact, if you're watching the replay and you have questions for Brady, drop them in the feed. We'll make sure that he loops around. We'll tag him and make sure that those are tackled prior. But by all means, click that link, jump in that free webinar. That's Tuesday, this coming Tuesday, like in a couple days, Tuesday. Really up your game as a business and as a connector, and to realize that to grow, we all need each other, and all the ships rise together with the tide if we're all in the water. So let's all jump in and play together, because we all get to. Brady, I so appreciate you. Everybody else, wherever you've been watching from today, thank you so much. We appreciate you. And Brady, I adore you. Thank you so much for being with us today. And I can't wait for Tuesday. And
yeah, I love our time together. It's always a delight.
It's always so much fun. All right, friend, have a good rest of your day today. Thanks for your time today. And we'll see you right back here soon, everybody. Take care.